Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint some winter songbirds. It's going to be a part of a new series called a seasonal songbirds. So we'll do at least 3 more of these. I'm really looking forward to this one. And I'll show you step by step how to do it tonight. I've got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's been in chat tonight, just like usual. So if you've got questions while I'm painting, you can ask those and we'll try to answer. Let's get started. Inch canvas. Welcome back. Just want to say that right off the bat. It's our first YouTube of 2024, so thanks for joining us. Those who, hopefully some of our regulars are
we
back
got a lot of
tonight.
regulars back in the business, back in the audience.
Survived the holidays and
Yes.
all that good stuff. Looking forward to this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. So I'm using a 9x12 inch tonight. This is the Fredrix canvas board. I haven't done anything to it. If you wanted to put a ground on there, I was thinking of like a light orange because I like orange with, I'm going to do soft blue for the background. So that's an option. Let me go over our colors. We've got carbon black, burnt umber, burnt sienna, yellow oxide, cadmium yellow light. What?
Your mic is cutting in and out. I'm going to unplug it real quick. Hold on. Okay.
That better? Let's start over. Carbon black, burnt umber, burnt sienna, yellow oxide. Sorry, we have mic issues. Cadmium yellow light, Naphthol red light, or you could use cadmium red medium, and ultramarine blue, or really your favorite blue, doesn't matter because we're just going to use it mostly for the background and to add in a little bit with the red for on our bird. I decided to change the bird from this weird pseudo blue jay Eurasian blue tit bird. I don't know. It was kind of a AI idea that I originally had for this reference photo. So I made a new reference photo with a chickadee. So it's a little bit different, but I kind of put it in the same pose. Sorry. So anyhow, blue, whatever blue. I got off on a tangent there. It's going to be an interesting night. It's been 3 weeks since I painted, so we'll see how it goes tonight. Unbleached titanium, titanium white, and glass glazing liquid. All right, that was the longest intro for the smallest amount of colors ever. And as for brushes, I've just got a variety of different ones. I don't actually think I'm going to use this one. For the bird itself, I like to use kind of a filbert or a round for feathers. So I'm probably going to use my number 2 round for most of the feathers. I might use my angle shader. This is a 3/8 inch angle for some of the blocking in. I grabbed a script liner for some of the branches and things. I might add pine. I don't know. The AI put pine with berries, and that doesn't track. So I just changed it to just a berry bush. But I don't know. We can do what we want, right? It doesn't matter. The only reason I used the AI was because I couldn't find the photo that I wanted. And so I used it to just kind of generate an idea, and then I photoshopped that idea. If that makes sense, I don't know. I found photos that kind of matched up with what I thought I liked. It just kind of is a shortcut. That's all it is. It's not, I'm not going to be painting off of an AI image tonight. All right, and then I've also got a 2/0 round and Willow's blender and the 2 flat. All right, I'm just talking about brushes now, and 8 filbert. So let's go ahead and use that, or just kind of any large flat-ish brush, flat or filbert, for the background. And I'm going to spray it down with water. Hope you all have been doing well. We had a really nice holiday, so I'm really excited about being back, though, and painting with you. getting going here.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Hey, real quick, what is the name of the chalk that you use, the brand?
Hagoromo, I think. Hagoromo. Yeah, Hagoromo.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to set that aside because I'll probably need it later. All right, so I'm going to use the Burnt Umber and a little bit, or I'm sorry, Ultramarine Blue and Burnt Umber. A little bit of Burnt Umber, more blue. I want this to be a little bit grayed out, but not super gray. All right, that looks good enough, I think. Let me get a little bit of white, and that will just make it more opaque, and it'll cover well on our canvas. I'm just going to start slapping it on here and putting it darker around the corners. And a little bit more white here. And as I go toward the middle, I'm just going to add a little bit more of the white. And the reason I'm doing this background first is it'll just kind of give me a backdrop for our birds. We won't have to paint around them that way. If you wanted to, you could paint around them. But there's just so much going on back here. And lots of branches and things in my reference photo. If you wanted to do that kind of all tan or taupey brown, you could just use the burnt umber with the white, and maybe add a little pops of gray here and there. So maybe I'll add a little bit more of the brownish color with the white, more of a brown color here and there. And I'm just going to go in kind of working the wet this way, and then maybe the sunlight is coming from this side, and so it's a little bit lighter up in that corner. And the nice thing about this Filbert brush is it kind of gives you, even if your brush strokes show, it gives you these kind of nice rounded edges, so it kind of looks like foliage or greenery or something, but it doesn't stand out too much. I like using it. This is going to look a little bit different for everybody, so don't freak out about that if you get it going and yours does not look like mine. That's okay, because if I did this again, it would look different too. It's just because I'm just flipping my brush around in different directions here, and so wherever it hits, it's gonna create its own unique little brush stroke, and yours will be different than mine. Just get it kind of mostly blended between the edges. That's the main thing. And if you have like a really obvious area where it's just not blending, then you want to get kind of a mix between the two, or come in with like a lighter color or something like that that can bridge that gap, and maybe I can put it on both sides of it and pull some up into this side and then pull some down this way, and then that kind of, see how that softened that little area up. Maybe get a little bit more of that blue, do some more blue down here. Blue, just blue and burnt umber and white. This is all we're doing. I think I might have grabbed a little bit of the unbleached titanium in this area. Yeah, I think I did. But if you don't have the unbleached titanium, you can mix a fairly close facsimile. It's all it is burnt umber, or I'm sorry, burnt sienna with white and yellow oxide. So a little bit of yellow oxide, a little bit of burnt sienna, and mostly white. And you can get this unbleached titanium that is just a kind of a warmer white. I find it really helpful to have in my palette, just because it's kind of a softer way to blend it in a little bit of white when I need it. When I need just like a little touch of lightening, but I don't want it to go all the way white, or when I'm wanting to lighten up a warm color. Okay. let Mark take that and dry it really quick. 'Cause it needs to dry. Thank you. Clean out my brush. And I'm just going to set that aside. It still has paint trapped down in here, even though it may look clean right now. If I touched it on a paper towel, I'm sure some blue would come out. Maybe a little bit. Well, I don't know, maybe it can, you know, there you can see a little bit of blue right there. That's how I usually, after I clean them, I test them on a white paper towel. But while you have paint in there, I usually don't leave them in my water. I used to do that all the time, and I would end up with all of my brushes cracked because the water seeps up through and gets in here. It can kind of, on cheaper brushes, it can even swell so much that it'll kind of come unbound from your ferrule here. But it'll definitely crack all of the paint on your handle as that wood swells inside. And so I just keep them wet and set them off to the side. And then after the show, I will wash them really well with just Dawn dish soap, or you can get a fancy brush cleaning soap. I have different ones that I use, but mostly I just use the dish soap because I'm cheap and it's easy. So anyhow, all right. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to take very long. Mark's back. Thank you. All right, very good. So now we've got a really nice, what?
But the drawer that the hairdryer's in almost went flying across the house
Because it didn't have anything in it anymore.
because it was empty.
We've been rearranging our garage, and and we've got empty drawers. It's amazing. Mark discovered one of
It's
the
like, whoa.
formerly full drawers, apparently. Okay, so I'm just going to use my fingers to kind of figure out my placements of my birds. So I want the cardinal to kind of be in this direction, like that, and then this one to be kind of in this direction. All right, and then this is tip to tail. So that looks pretty good. That's the head of the cardinal, and that would be coming down like that. And then when I'm drawing birds, I'm just kind of looking at the overall shape. Generally, their body shape is going to be kind of an egg shape. And then their wing is going to be kind of a smaller, more pointy, like teardrop shape. And then the tail is usually the same distance as from the neck to the tail, and the body and the tail are usually about the same length. So those are kind of some little tips. And then the top, of course, the head is kind of attached to the top of the egg shape. So you've got an egg shape kind of here for the body, and the tapered end towards the tail, and the more puffy part up at the breast. So something like that. And I'm going to go ahead and draw them in where I want them, and then I'm going to put the branches to connect them. So that way I don't have to worry about, moving my birds where the branches aren't at. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Something like that for the cardinal. And then the wing is coming off here. And I'm just kind of cutting it off right there, like that, ish. Might make the breast a little bit more boxy right here. Okay. Puff him out because he's in the snow and stuff. They fluff out their feathers, so they're a lot fuller, fluffier than in the summertime. So if we drew another cardinal later on in our seasonal songbirds, we may have a cardinal that's much more sleek. This one is all floofed out for winter. He's got his fluffy winter coat on.
He's creating that air gap to help keep warm. It's like, I didn't really care. I don't
that's-
know what to
that
say.
was what I was gonna say.
Yes.
I was just thinking that.
The air gap.
The air gap. He's created himself a puffer jacket.
Yes. Yes. Before it was trendy.
Exactly. The original, the OG of puffer jackets right here. All right, so there we go. The head is obviously not right. We'll get there. So the head on him, he's kind of scrunched down because of the cold. So his head's not coming off. So you've got that egg shape right here, right? And then you've got a circle that kind of bisects the top of it. And it can go anywhere, you know, it can be kind of anywhere in here, that circle area on him, but he's kind of uprightish. And then the beak is going to kind of come down straight from the forehead area. So it kind of comes down and goes in. Hopefully you can see this. And goes like that, all right? And then he's got this little black area that comes around, and the eye is right there. And it's usually right where the beak kind of seam is. I'm getting a lot of chalk going on here, so you can't really see what I'm doing, but hopefully you get the idea. Okay. And then that just kind of comes up and comes back down right there. So there's our cardinal, at least the drawing part. And then our chickadee, we've got the little circle for the head. And he's kind of right about where the beak ends. He's kind of just underneath that beak. His beak is pointing upward a little bit more. There. And then his body is right in here. There's that egg shape right there. Right. Then it kind of points down towards the tail. The tail comes down like that. All right. All right, that'll work. And then we're gonna bring that up. There's this, he's holding on right there. I may bring this up a little bit more like it is in the original photo so that he's not got his legs exposed, like he's kind of hunched over his legs a little bit more. So I might bring that branch up a little bit right there. And then it's attaching over here to the branch. There's some berries maybe over here. And coming off there. Berries. We'll just do a big thing of berries right in here. And then maybe some more coming up here and coming over on this side. All right, that looks good. Let's get to painting. We'll start with, no, let me think. I think I'm going to start with my angle shader, and I'm just going to block in my main areas of my birds here. I'm going to spray this. Now I haven't, I'm going to use Naphthol Red Light, but if it's not a color that you normally use, just use Cadmium Red Light. It'll work as well. Just wanted to try it. I don't know. I saw somebody else using it, and I was like, ooh, I haven't tried that in a while. Let's try it. Okay, there we go. It just was kind of the right color for this, so I feel like, why not? Use the colors in the tool, all the colors in the tool box, crayon box, whatever. All right. So I'm gonna just do the main areas here. Block them in, and I'm kind of being a little bit fuzzy about the edges here. So I want those edges to be kind of softened off. So I'm not going in with a really hard line there. I'm kind of letting them sort of almost dry brush along those outside edges there. So I'm getting kind of a softer look.
So you painting this winter cardinal, it reminds me of that video that you posted in the group last year of the 20-some-odd cardinals at our feeder while it was
I
snowing.
know, yeah. We were just looking at it the other day because I was telling our son, I guess our son Nathan had never seen it. So he was like, whoa. Yeah, and I can't believe that was last year, I guess, huh?
Yep.
Crazy. We're getting ready for another winter storm next week, so
It's going to be code.
it can be cold. We're going to have the birds, that's for sure. Okay, I'm going to use the edge of this brush and just tap along that top edge to give it like that spiky look right there. Okay, that looks pretty good, I think. Bring it out a little bit more right there. All right. I'm gonna make an orange with my red and some yellow. Mostly yellow. When you're mixing a color like this red, it's gonna overpower your yellow, so you're gonna probably use 2 to 3 times more yellow than red in order for it to be orange and not just a dark red or an orangey red. So let's go ahead and do the beak. Wow, that chalk is picking up the color a little bit. Let me correct that because it got a little bit big right there. Careful when you do that because your blue is still a little bit fresh. So if you press too hard on it, it'll just lift off the blue too. Okay, that looks okay. A little bit better. I might need a smaller brush because I'm having a hard time controlling this one. Okay. It's kind of squared off. It kind of comes to a point right here. Ish. It goes right into the face there. If you put the beak right on the edge of the face, which is kind of the temptation, is to have the beak, you know, like a little triangle on the edge of the face, then it doesn't actually connect to the body at all. Okay, getting black. And let's just go ahead and put in the eye. And then the little black flip around the face. Okay, it comes up over the beak right there. And I'm just going to kind of soften off by just tapping those edges where it meets the red so that it's not like a hard line. I want it to be kind of soft and feather-like. And it kind of meets up about the same area. It kind of comes down a little bit right here. I probably have too much of the black here, but we'll fix it. All right, I'm going to get a little bit of that red and a little bit of my orange and use a kind of a darkish red right around the areas of the beak. And this original color is still a little bit wet, so it's going to kind of temper that color a little bit in places, give it a little bit of a shadow. And I'm just tapping with a little bit of color, and then I have too much color on my brush. So I'm just going to wipe that off. And then come back in here with this wet paint and just tap around and push it around a little bit. I can get a little bit more of that brighter orange, which was my original color. Tap it back over in some places. I feel like his beak a little bit big. I might bring out his body a little bit more. Just so it fits. Beak's too big, just make the body bigger. I can't fix it now. It's too late. I can kind of take it down a little bit right there, but okay, we'll bring the body up to that point there. I'm going to get some more of my red and give it a second coat. Sure I don't have any gaps. Looks pretty good. Okay. And I like see how it kind of blended over the top of that red with that, or over the top of the black with that second coat of red in it. It's sort of a translucent red, so it's showing a little bit of that black through, which is nice. If you wanted it to cover completely, you would have to add a little bit of white to the red because it's not going to cover that black. The black is too intense. So just kind of know that going in. Okay, that looks pretty good, I think. Happy with that. Let's get a little bit of this black that I mixed with the red here. And we'll use it on the wings. Just back in here, there's some little wing details. That, and then it kind of skips. Got some smaller ones right there. Gonna get a little bit more of that red. Gonna do a little bit kind of in between. Not quite so black. And the back of the head's got some of this color too. And because I've got a brush that is sort of feather shape, I'm pointing the tip down in the direction that I want those feathers to be. And as I'm brushing, I'm going to get these little feather-like brush strokes. So it makes it really easy to do birds this way. I find it really fun, and just don't overthink it. And you don't have to do too many brush strokes to get the feeling of feathers, and we're good. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit of blue now and find a little new area here, blue, and get some of that red. So I'm just gonna scoop up a pretty good amount of red and mix that in with the blue. And if you're getting a dark brownish color and you're not getting like a purple, if you want it to be a little bit more purple, this is going to be a muted purple because this red has a little bit of an orangey tint, and the orange and the blue will create a muddier purple. You can get a more intense purple if I used a red that was like a magenta, like a Quinacridone Magenta, which is what I normally use. But this one actually here is not too bad. So this has got maybe a little bit more of the blue than the red. And I'm liking that color right there. So I'm going to use this on the tail, because I'm seeing some kind of color, some blues in the tail. All right, and I'm just going to start from the bottom, kind of set down my brush and pull up. Might add a little bit of the glazing medium. I don't need it to go on too opaquely. I just want to tint this with a little bit of this color. It's breaking up in some places, so I want this to go all the way up. There we go. might get a little bit more blue. Maybe this time add just a tiny touch of white. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to get a little bit more white, maybe with a little bit more of this more reddish purpley color. And I'm going to find an area along this side here. And my light's coming from over here, so I'm just going to highlight that side of it and then find maybe another couple feathers. Just throw a couple little highlights on it and call that good. Okay. Then I need to use this color somewhere else because I don't want this to be the only place I have it. So I'm going to add a little bit on the wing here. This kind of highlightish red. This is the one that had a little bit of the purple in it and white.
How you doing, babe?
Good. How are you?
Good. Sorry for all the ruckus over here.
What's going on?
Oh, just the remote seemed to be acting wonky, and so I
What
went,
remote?
the one for the camera. And then so I went and got a new battery for it, thinking, well, it's the battery. Well, I put the new battery in, and it didn't work at all.
Okay.
And so then I put the old battery back in it, and now it's working.
Okay.
The fun of the live streams.
Mm-hmm.
But you're a trooper. You're painting through it like nothing's happening. You're used to me, aren't you?
Just ignoring you.
Yeah.
It's all.
It's been many years of practice.
It's a skill. It's a skill. I'm gonna get a little bit bigger brush. I'm just finding it hard to get a round that's got a little bit more oomph than 4. So I've skipped up a size. And I'm gonna get some orange. Here, I still had a little bit from the beak left over. If you don't, you can mix that with just the yellow with the red. And I'm gonna add a little bit of this in some areas here. There's this picture that I have has some yellow or orangey color kind of coming out at the bottom of the body here. Okay. Let's put some at the top there. Get more of the red and maybe do kind of a like a cadmium red light or something, you know, that's like a really intense bright orangey red. So more of on the red orange side. Let's use that up here. Yeah, I don't think I wanted to use that purple. Now that I'm seeing the purple up here, I think I want to keep the purple down in my shadowy areas and put these more orangey colors up towards the top where the light's hitting. So I wouldn't put that purple up here again. I'm just working this out live with you guys, so sometimes I'll do things that I regret later. So, you know, like perm, you know, it's it's a thing. So you just have to kind of, you know, you don't know until you try it sometimes. So
That's awesome.
you just never know. Okay. I'm going to bring that split in the beak up just a little bit. I've noticed that I do my cardinal beaks like this every time. If you look at my other cardinals that I painted last year, I did all their beaks. They all have kind of an attitude. Not really sure how I end up with their beaks looking like this, but it's something stuck in my brain apparently. So your cardinal beaks hopefully will not look like they're in the bird mafia or something. They got what is that saying? They got an offer you can't refuse. he's the godfather.
The Godfather.
Bird. Here.
Thinks he's God pigeon.
God pigeon. Yes, he thinks he's the god pigeon. Yes, that's the word. All right, so mixing up a little bit more of my orange here. Sorry, I'm in a weird mood tonight. You can tell we've been watching a lot of TV shows during the break. A lot more TV than normal. Okay. Get a little bit of black, just a tiny bit of black, and I am going to force this beak opening up here. It really kind of splits it in half. So I have it down here, but it's really in half. So if you kind of just find the middle of that, and it kind of comes up and back down. Okay. And that's obviously too dark, but we'll get it there.
Which red were you using there for the beak?
This is Naphthol Red Light, but you can use Cadmium Red Light, or Red Medium, I mean. Really, Cadmium Red Light would work, but you'd have to add like a magenta or something to it to get it to be this bright. This darker red color. All right. Now I'm going to go in with that Naphthol Red Light and just hit some areas here to really kind of pop up the saturation. And that's about him done. I just have to do the eye. I still don't like the beak. I need to mix up some orange that does not have white in it right now. The yellow. What time is it? Oh man, I've taken almost an hour for just this one bird.
That's fine.
I haven't even done the sticks.
That's okay.
They're not finding anything in Oak Island tonight anyways, probably.
No. No, I'm in no rush to go watch them after last week. Very disappointing out of the gate.
At the gate?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you know, they took a break for Christmas, and so you come back fresh in the new year, and just like, you got to come out hard.
you're waiting for something exciting to happen. It was just like, wah-wah.
Like the past 11 years.
What?
Like the past 11 years of my life.
What?
Just their.
Have they been for 11 years? It hasn't been 11 years.
So maybe 8 years at least.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. They've been stringing us on for that long. Something better happen soon or I'm going to give up on them. I'm sorry.
We keep saying that.
I know, but this is one of our favorite Tuesday night shows, Oak Island. If you're not familiar, don't start. Don't do it.
You haven't missed anything.
That's true. They recap it every single week. So if you missed all,
The previous 8 years.
8 years,
They'll recap it
you
for
just
you.
watch and they'll in the first 5 minutes they'll let you know everything that happened. You, like I said, you haven't missed much. A lot of nothing happens. They dig a lot of holes. All right. Sorry, they're gonna get mad at us.
There goes our History Channel sponsorship.
Jeez, oh dang it. All right, I mixed up a little bit of gray, and I'm just gonna tap around. The birds have that kind of, I don't know, eyelid area that's kind of, it's usually not very smooth, so I'm just gonna kind of tap a little circle around it, but very faint. Like I don't want it to be like obvious, because it's pretty faint in our picture. It's just barely catching the light. It's black, so it's just catching a little bit of light. And then I'm going to give it a little highlight on the top in the eye itself with that same color. And then we'll put some white in there, and that white will really pop. I do want to do another layer of black because the first layer is a little bit grayed out. It's not super saturated. So I'm going to go in and just really clean up my black area anywhere that I need more saturation. All right, now let's watch this when we do the white here. I'm gonna get a little bit of glaze with it, just a little bit, so it's like slightly transparent. But now he's got a little eye. I'm gonna wipe that off and just do another little tiny dot next to it, maybe. I like to do two. And then if it's too dark, you can kind of take your brush and sort of tap off a little bit of it, dampen it off slightly. All right, let's put a little bit of, I'm going to get some yellow and white and put a highlight down my beak. That was a little bit wet, so I'm trying to take some of that moisture out of my brush there. See how it's, there we go. It might go a little bit brighter, just a little bit more white, and just kind of hit the very tip of that beak. Wipe my brush out, and then just soften off the edge by tapping around the outside of it a little bit. Okay, what's happening there is it was wet. Let me do that again. The paint, the original, this yellow that I originally put on it was super wet, and so it didn't stick. So when I was trying to blend it, it just was lifting instead of blending. All right, so now this will work better. You just have to need your paint just slightly a little thicker for that to work. Okay, there we go. And I might put a little tiny bit right where those two meet, but maybe not that dark. Or that bright, I mean. Okay. A little bit of that darker red. Now we're talking. Okay. And there's a little bit of a dark red right here where that nostril is. It comes down. And again, I'm just going to kind of wipe my brush out and tap around it to dampen, soften it, and get it to go in there. Okay, we need to move on because we're getting very detailed here, and I don't have time for super detailed tonight. Let's go ahead and do our little chickadee. So I'm going to use the black. This face is mostly black. And get that beak situated. So we'll start with that. It's going to be right in here. It's going to come in like right there. And that black kind of continues down and out. And as I'm painting, I'm looking up at my picture almost as much as I'm looking down at what I'm painting. So be sure that you get in that habit if you're wanting to paint realistically and get your details right. Don't just go down here and look straight down and only look down. You know, you can't remember what you're seeing. You've got to be looking up and back down and up and back down constantly. So I'm looking up and back down, looking up and back down. If you could see my face, up, down, down. You know, this is up, down. This is all, I get a neck workout, up, down. Getting the angle right on the top of the head, up and back down. Up, to look up it again. What is that angle there? Okay, that looks good. Do it. And then look back up to see where it connects, back down. Okay, I know that's kind of annoying for me to be doing that, but I do want you to realize that's something you're not seeing of me, you know, painting it, but it really is important for you to realize how much I am looking at the...
We can do a dramatic reenactment here.
There we go.
Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
This is not, that is not,
She's looking up.
you're not doing
She's
it
looking
right.
down.
Go away. Go away.
She's painting up, down. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
I'm trying to help.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So I kind of filled in a little bit with the white with the gray. I like to have a little bit of darker color underneath before I do my whites on top. And let's go ahead and get some of the white and a little bit of that gray for right down here. I'm going to get a little bit more of the white right in here. That turned out a little too dark. Put a little bit of it on the top of the beak there. Oh, he's so cute. Yeah, I was like, well, winter, I was going to do that other bird, the blue colored bird. But then I realized that the cardinals and the blue, Eurasian blue tits don't live in the same region. One, and second, the cardinal or the chickadees are much more like, to me, they're the birds that come out in the winter so much. We have them all over right now out here. So cardinals and these chickadees are just everywhere right now.
And we're sitting out on the back porch Sunday with our son and partner and granddaughter. It was cold, and we're just sitting out there, and the birds were up in the trees. The chickadees are just,
Oh man, they were letting you know
when they're upset. Like, we cannot eat while you're
Constant.
sitting there.
Yep.
Go in.
Go away. Go away. Go away. We're just going to be annoying until you leave. We are cute but fierce. Yeah.
People liked my reenactment there. It helped them visualize what was going on.
Really?
So.
Of the up and down?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. This is what you get when you come to our channel. Not all channels do this for you.
You don't get this level
Do not get this level of
graphics and
professionalism.
exactly.
It's I don't know why I get complaints about you.
From the other personalities in your head, or
It's rare, but they're just every now and then. And I'm like, well, you try painting without any help. Yeah, and see how it does. It is not. I much prefer hanging out, and on Thursdays I'm by myself, and granted there's not as many interruptions, but it's not nearly as fun. I'm not chatting it up about stupid stuff as much. So there's that. I don't think I'm selling it.
My value.
Yeah.
sounds like you're really grasping at straws there.
Sorry.
Compared to like What are the good points? Well, he's here.
Sorry.
Well, I would say I don't have to worry about the camera, but sometimes I go off camera because he's not paying attention. The microphone works most of the time.
All right. Mixing my gray that I had on my brush with my two yellows here. So I have yellow oxide and a little bit of cadmium yellow. I don't need a lot. It saves. That's funny, huh? I am finding my paints are drying out this time of year. You may have to add a little bit extra water to your paints to get them to not dry out immediately. Yeah, we're running a humidifier in the room, and they're still, but I've got the air blowing on them too right now, so that's not ideal. And these paints are drying out on me. Getting some water with it, and gonna dab over, and again, I'm kind of going in the direction that I'm seeing these feathers, so that we're just creating our feathers as we go here. We're not having to go in and paint any individual feathers. I'm not worried about it being a photorealistic representation. We're just getting the essence of the bird. It's getting close. I'm gonna get a little bit of burnt sienna, maybe under the wing here. I'm seeing kind of a little bit of a reddish tone. So we'll put a little bit of that down here. And then we've got this is my bird, my dog. He's becoming a grumpy old man in his teens. He's constantly complaining and groaning, which I think he's been hanging out with us too long.
He is mimicking the pack.
I think he is.
The pack makes this noise every time they sit down, and so I guess I have to do that too.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. All right, so there we go. Cute. And let's do a little bit more of the brown. I'm going to get some burnt umber in the gray and do that down here. This area is darker than I have it. Just this area in the breast here. And coming down the tail. And then I'm going to get the black and just come up this way with the black and just going to do a few little swipes and leave a little bit of a color between them. Okay, that looks good. Give it a second coat on the black anywhere you need it. I think that's pretty close. All right, let's do the eye. I kind of, as I painted it in, I kind of did the gray around the eye a little bit, but I'll do a little bit more up here. A little bit in the eye. A little bit of a white. Let's zoom in so you can see what I'm doing here. And a little bit of white at the very top of the beak and in the eye itself. I'm going to get a little bit of black and just kind of do that again. I didn't like that. Do that. I'm going to get a little bit of the black and soften off here. If you have any little, like an obvious line here, you can kind of tap off. Usually there's like little feathers and things in that transition between the beak and the body. get some white and do that. And then get some of that light gray and do a little bit of a light gray line there. Wipe it off, get a little tiny bit of the brighter white on the tip, and just touch barely little tiny bit of white. There we go. There we go. There's our, I'm good with that. All right, but let's go ahead and put in some more of the white feathers with the brighter white. So I'm going to get just white here. Work it into my brush. Not really adding any water or anything to thin it down. I want it fairly thick so that it goes on opaque. And I'm just going to tap to get those little bitty feathers that are around the face. Okay, and they kind of are going back this way, I'm seeing. Really bright right there. And then it's coming down the back. There's a few brightish feathers right in here. And I can alter the kind of feathers that I'm doing. So for these smaller feathers, I'm just kind of tapping and pulling down, and they create a feather that is, I'll show you the difference here. I'll do it with a darker color. So if I put my feathers down this way, I'm going to get broken up feathers that are those kind of thinner, thinner feathers around the face, around the eyes, little tiny feathers, just using the tip of the brush, that kind of thing, okay? But if I pull down, I'm going to get these sort of jaggedy, almost like V-shaped feathers, all right? If I want my feathers to look more rounded, I'm going to pull in the opposite direction. So those feathers were this way, and the pointy end is going to be the thinner there. The thickest part is also always where you set down your brush. So I can press my brush flat as I load it so that it kind of has a rounded shape, and then set it down so that I'm getting feathers that are rounded. And so sometimes, like especially in the tail and the body, I was doing them in this direction so that they were rounded this way, and then up by the face and right here in the body, I'm pulling down so that I'm getting almost like I would do fur, so that they're more fluffy. So these are fluffier feathers, and these are the smoother feathers, and the direction of the brush is changing, and how much I'm pressing down on the brush is changing, but they're all done with the same brush. So as you're watching back, you can kind of pay attention to that a little bit and see where I'm, how I'm holding the brush, how I'm laying it in, So if I want feathers that are looking a little bit more rounded down here, then I can get some of that color, press my brush flat, and do a few feathers that are kind of rounded. And of course, I'm not wanting them to be all lined up too perfectly either, so I'm kind of making sure that I'm overlapping them so that they're laying flat and looking kind of random. Okay, that looks good. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to put a little bit of this color up by the cheek, and we'll call him pretty much done.
Oh, there he is. Done.
Yeah. All right, let's put in our branches. So I'm going to get the Ultramarine Blue and my burnt umber. I want a little bit of the blue in there just to kind of go with the rest of the color scheme, so it's not just brown. And maybe a little bit of black too. So I want them to be pretty dark. And let's see, we're wanting this branch to go kind of in front of him, right in here and up. It's going to get thicker as it goes towards the tree trunk or towards the main branch. Right here, it kind of goes sort of knobby right there. So make sure that I have it going kind of thinner towards the cardinal. So I might thicken up that branch a little bit more there. And then bring it up. I think that'll work right in there somewhere. And I'm just going to kind of wiggle it so that it is sort of not perfectly smooth. It got kind of knobby and interesting shapes happening. And bring it out.
Like me?
Over. Interesting shapes happening. Yes,
Knobbies.
check. That's definitely me. I get it. Oh, geez. Okay, I'm just kind of making little spots for my berries to go. And we'll bring out some branches down. We can add more later. I'm not going to have very good, like, little tiny you know what, I don't know if I want it right there because that's where the legs are going to come down. Let me see where the feet are going to attach. I don't want berries right where the feet are attaching. All right, I'm just going to use my cloth here and dab off my chalk marks so that I don't have those to contend with as I'm finishing up these berries and things. And you can see the chalk for me is just kind of a starting place. I don't actually paint to the chalk or even on it sometimes. It's just it kind of just helps me kind of have a reference to go by. But as I'm painting, whoops, wipe that off. Don't wipe off your wet paint. All right.
So it's okay to paint outside the lines.
Yes. They're just there for reference. Okay, looks good. And honestly, we could probably let that branch go all the way off if you don't want to do any more up here. So that's just a personal preference, whatever you want to do. That. And maybe we can have some branches and things sort of in the background too. You could, if you wanted to add some greenery like in the original reference photo, you could add some pine coming down from different places or whatever too. And then we might do that if we have time. I don't know what time it is. 7. Oh my gosh.
Or mistletoe.
Wow. How did I got that bird? That one took me like 40 minutes and I did that one in 10 minutes. What the heck? That was...
I know, you just...
I slammed that bird.
Bird.
Done. If you went out and got a snack, I'm sorry. It is over.
It's like, I swear we didn't time lapse it or anything. It just bird.
That's funny. I was expecting it to be. I lose track of time. I don't know what that is called. I'm sure there's a phenomenon that somebody smarter than me has studied and figured out the terminology for it, but I lose track of time when I paint.
As they say, time flies when you're having fun.
There you go.
That's why my work day is like 16 hours. Not this part of the work day. My other work.
Your other
Work
work,
day,
yes, your real job.
And real is because I just have to go and not be here and
Yeah. Yes.
do some fun
I
things
don't love
sometimes.
what's happening here, but I think it'll look better once we add stuff to it. Sorry, I was interrupting you.
No, that's okay. That's all part of the business. It's your show, babe.
Thanks. All right. Yeah, we'll just do it down this down. The berries kind of come off these little arms. Kind of can connect. So we'll do the berries and then we'll make sure they all have little arms connecting back. That I find that easier to place the berries first than to worry about where they are on the arms. This is a little bit wonky. I don't know what happened here, but we might.
want to ride its tail, so.
Oh, that's what I was doing. Yeah. So we'll do some berries over here. Yeah, I mean, we could have covered over the tail. That's probably better, but I didn't want to. We did all that work on that lovely tail. We didn't want to cover him up. All right, I'm going to get some white now. And maybe a little bit of this yellowish color. And this is actually, if you noticed, it looks kind of green. And the reason for that is that black actually has some blue in it. When you mix yellow with it, it turns green. I'm not really sure why, but that's just what happens. So I'm gonna make that kind of yellowy green color. It's a really good like color for tree bark and tree. We could even use the background color, which I'll probably do some too. I'm just kind of tapping in some little bit of this highlight color here and there. And we'll be adding little feet, I promise. Don't let me forget. I do tend to forget to put feet on my birds sometimes. I've only done it like 3 times and then nobody ever trusts me anymore.
Like 5 minutes into the tutorial, they're like, don't forget the feet.
I know, yeah.
Forget the feet.
Feet. All right, I'll do the feet right now. So I'm going to go ahead and use black and just, let's see, this one, we'll just say it's kind of coming off right here, wrapping around. And then this one maybe out here a little bit more. You know, they kind of split their feet, spread the weight. Get some white and just tap off the top and the knuckles. Very simple. All right, let's do the chickadee same way. These little feet right here. So just go above and below, 3 little lines. Get my hand in there. And this one, I don't know where his other foot is on this picture. Oh, I think it's over here. Let's do it like that. Okay, then get the white, highlight. like that. And I think the key is not to do like a solid line. I'm tapping as I'm painting it so that it's kind of a broken little, you know, it's like little knuckles and little things happening. And I'm not like super over defining anything. It doesn't have to be over defined for your brain to fill in the gaps, you know. So just kind of do a little bit and that's good enough. They come to a point under here, so like on that one you can see I kind of created a little bit of a point there, but for the most part I'm not going into a lot of detail there. Okay, and that's all we need to do there. Yeah, speak is funky. I've got to fix it. It's driving me crazy. It's wiggled down and back up, and black is over it right here. Okay, I need to be careful because I'm getting paint on my hand here. I think part of it is that I have the tip is too blunted. I think that's what I'm not liking, so I'm trying to make that end of the beak a little pointier. And this may not be the right brush to do it.
Well, to me, it seems to be a little long.
Probably is.
I think the beak's a little
Fatter.
yours is a little bit more narrow.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I'm not sure I can fix that.
That's okay.
I did it. I noticed it when I first painted it, and I tried to make the face a little bit bigger, but it still was a little too long. Yeah, you're right. It is a lot more blunted. I'm not really sure. There's not a whole lot I can do because the background is the way it is. If the background was like a solid color, I could have messed with it, but you can't really do anything to this background. I don't want to have to try to paint around it. I'm just making the beak longer by doing this, more pointiness, but it's like it wasn't long enough. It's just getting longer now. Oh, well, you'll do yours right. I do this to my cardinals, though. They all have long beaks. That's the thing. You will get stuck kind of doing the same thing over and over again. You kind of have to force yourself out of it. I'm going to have to probably draw it from a traceable a couple of times just to make sure like I get the proportion just right, so it gets stuck in my brain the right way, because I keep doing it this way. I'm just gonna keep doing it this way every time I draw it because I keep doing it. I keep letting myself do it wrong. I keep getting stuck, and then it's too late. It's not wrong. He's just special. He's got a special beak. It's all right.
It's all good.
Yes. But do make sure that you get your background done before you try to, or your bird, finish before you do your branch over the top, because you don't want to have to paint around your branch. All right, I want to do some blue highlights on my branches. So I'm going to get the Ultramarine Blue and some white, maybe a tiny bit of brown. This is my background color. And I'm just going to, I want to make sure that it's not the exact same color as my background color though, so I'm going a little bit more blue with it. And I'm going to get this color that I used for my highlights and mix a little bit of that into so that it's kind of also kind of matches that. And I'm just going to kind of go through here and add a little bit of some detail on my branches. A little bit kind of icy bits, and you know, the tree branches have those kind of stripy bark or whatever. I'm trying to kind of get that little bark, a little bit of bark texture where that bark is kind of wrapping around, and doesn't have to be everywhere. So on this part of the tree, it would be going this way because it's going side to side on the branches. And anywhere where we get our branches weird or we don't like them, we're going to be adding ice. So we can just fix it that way. We don't have to have it perfect. And I'm going to use this color in my little ice patches. So I'm going to start to build those out, and like in these V shapes, put in like little bits where the ice is accumulating on the branch. And we may need a little bit darker in some places for it to show up. Get a little bit more blue. Because we got that background kind of light in some of these areas. So I'm just going to kind of use that snow to be sort of translucent, and maybe some of it stuck over here too. Okay. Let's do our berries. And get a little tiny bit of ultramarine blue and add that to that red, just to make them a little bit different, a little bit darker. Although I might want, take it back, I kind of think I want that brighter red on some of these, since that red is not translucent. It's not gonna, maybe I'll just leave a little bit of the middle part and just do around the outsides with this. You know, I do think if I was to do this again, I might put more like some greens or something back here, and I might try that now, just before I do much more in the background or with the berries, because I think I want some stuff happening in my background more than what I've got with this. So I'm gonna wipe off any chalk that I still see, and I'm just realizing I need to give my bird a little bit of highlight on his head, on the top of his head. So I'm gonna get some of this unbleached titanium with the red and just do that right there. Okay. And maybe a little bit on the body too. I've switched to a little bit bigger brush here. This is the Aspen Short Filbert number 4. Could use a blender for this too. If you have the 3/8 inch blender, it would probably work similarly. Just adding a little bit of texture. That was just a lot of red, solid red everywhere. So I'm just trying to kind of break it up a little bit. And I'm going back in with the red to sort of blend out the edges a little bit. Okay, that's a little bit better. Just to give them a little bit more floof. Alright, so I'm going to use this brush, I think, and just add some very faint. So I'm going to try to make up that background color again a little bit. So I'm going to get that ultramarine blue and my white and the burnt umber. So that was my original color up here, and then over here I added some of the unbleached titanium, you can see right there. So yeah, we're pretty close to that color that we had. Might need a little bit more white. And so what I'm going to do is add yellow to this, and that way I'll have kind of a green that I know matches our background and is not going to be too far off and too jarring when I add it. It'll be kind of, it'll feel like it may fit this scene a little bit. It'll blend in a little bit.
Is that one very leaky or smeared?
It is. I touched it. Thank you. Now I'm going to have to, well, just do this around it. So I'm kind of just going to put it randomly in the background, like maybe it's, you know, filtered through the trees, we're just barely seeing it or whatever. I'm going to get some yellow oxide here and add it to this ultramarine blue color that I have here. It's just going to be a nice gray green we can use. Now if it's too light, we can always go in a little bit darker with it, and I might need to do that. Might use a bigger brush too. This brush doesn't seem like it's covering very much. Go a little bit more of that darker blue. Get some of that green. So ultramarine blue and yellow oxide or cadmium yellow light is going to make kind of a muted green. Really lovely green. Actually, this is actually kind of a turquoisey version because it's got a lot of yellow in it. So we can use that. I don't know. I just feel like it needed a little bit more something.
Yeah, gives it some depth.
It's a little bit messy, so I may have to embrace the mess.
No, I think it looks right with it not being super defined. It just gives you something to feel.
Something extra out in the background.
Yep.
Here, I'll probably do this before you put your birds in, or maybe after you draw your birds in, so you kind of know where to do it, so it doesn't have to be like right behind your birds necessarily, but it's sort of just around them. I don't know. And I can always get a little bit more of that ultramarine blue and burnt umber and maybe some unbleached titanium. Yeah, that's up in here, and do some of that. If if you get too much of the green somewhere, you can always go back in with your blue and add add some of that back in. Maybe add, like, this isn't supposed to be part of the trees that these birds are sitting on. This is supposed to be in the background behind the trees and sort of filtered through. Probably putting in too much, but you get the idea. No, that feels good. I'm liking it. I'm getting it there. It's kind of like you got to commit, you know. You got to commit. Yeah, if you go halfway, it's going to look weird. You're just going to have to really do it. So I'm going to have some coming in from down here, and maybe these ones can be a little bit more like pine looking or whatever.
Sorry, my unit converter app had an ad run there. Trying to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit. We're talking about all the cold temperatures.
Okay.
Chat, sorry.
Nice. All right. Yeah, that feels good. It's like a little bit more, I don't know, feels a little bit more finished, or getting there at least. And if you have to, you can just paint your branches over if you do this and you know, it looks funky and you feel like you need to. Oh, I can fix the beak. I am going for it. I am fixing this beak. I'm gonna do it. I don't recommend this. This is not for the faint of heart, but I'm doing a special surgery on my beak. Now, I'm going to have to fix the bottom of it, but I'm not. I'll go back in and make it bigger again, but I had to take off more than I needed, and just to make sure that I got it all. All right. Special surgery here. I like that better. It feels a little bit more bettery. Sorry. Getting some white here. I'm just going to use I'm going to go ahead and use this brush here. People are going to be like, what happened to that cardinal? And I'm just going to tap in. I may get my blender. I feel like maybe I need my blender or even my Deerfoot Stippler. This one's doing okay. I just wanted to use it since I already had it. Here, might as well just use what you've got. Figured the wind's coming from this way. It's pushing those. And these are ending up looking the same, so I'm going to have to probably break that up somehow. Maybe put some up this way too. Make that one taller or something so they're not exactly the same both places. Okay. Get that white. Tap a tap. The white is going to catch the light, and you're going to have these little crystals of light catching through. So don't be afraid of going really bright in some of them, especially like kind of on the top and towards the light. And this is the fun thing about the winter one. If you have any little spots, like I said, that you don't like or it turned out looking weird, you can cover them with snow. You can use your finger to kind of rub out little parts and make them feel a little bit more fuzzy. Soften off those edges a little bit. Make them blend in a little bit to the surroundings. So everything's not like hard edged. Those softer edges will feel a little bit more farther away too. So if you kind of get in here, maybe I go over this area and it now it looks like it's a little farther away or going away from us. Do the same thing to these. And then we'll continue to add our berries now. And I'm gonna use a different brush because I wasn't liking that one. How are we doing on time? Good. Okay. We're good.
All right, we're taking bets over here on if the beak will be longer than it originally was when Angela paints it back. Place your bets now.
Go. Stop. Okay, let's do it now. I take that. I take that challenge. I take up the challenge right now. Okay, I'm gonna use the black to kind of correct that shape. I kind of overcorrected. To bring it back down. I'm using a smaller brush. That was the key. I was using too big of a brush before. I was using my big angle brush. I just wasn't getting the right size on it. Okay. Now I need to be careful not to put my hand in my wet snow that's everywhere. Okay, look at it. Okay, it kind of comes across and it goes up. Getting more yellow with my orange, yellow and red. The problem is those two are both kind of translucent, so they're not very opaque. All right, I can put my hand down right here. Okay, it doesn't have to go longer. It just has to go pointier right here. Just a little bit pointy right there, and we're good. We're done. That's it. Much better, much better. And see, we blended it into the background. You can't even tell. It looks good. All right, I'm going to get a little bit of white. Do my little bit of white highlight on there. Gonna get a little yellow with my white, just so it's not just white. Okay. I did it.
Good job.
Feels good. All right, so let's do some berries everywhere. I'm getting this big brush. This may be a mistake. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know why I picked this huge brush. I don't need that big brush. I just need a brush that's got a little bit more precision than the one I was using. I'm going to use sorry, I'm using a lot of brushes tonight, but these two are very similar. So the difference is the Velvet Touch is a little softer, and so it comes to a finer point. This one is a little bit thicker. It carries more paint, a little bit more firm. But it doesn't come to a really, really fine point for me. So for the precision that I want on my berries, I'm going to go for a 4 round. We'll see if that's going to do what I need it to do. We'll see. But the 4 round in the Velvet Touch and the 4 round in the 6100 Summit series are very different brushes. So the 4 round in the Velvet Touch and the 2 round in the Summit are about the same. Summit 6100 series. I like them both. They just have different kind of uses, and sometimes I want one and sometimes I don't. Okay. They really like to overlap themselves a lot, so trying to do that, but I don't want to have to paint around a bunch of berries either, so the less you have to overlap, the easier it is. So I'm kind of trying to combine the realism of the overlapping berries with the ease of the not overlapping berries, and kind of do a little bit of overlapping, but not so much that I'm having to go in and paint around a bunch of things that, see, I'm ending up with 3 in a row right there. That looks kind of funky. So maybe I'll make 2 berries. Maybe I'll have one down here. And that one's kind of behind everything. And then maybe we'll do another one that's kind of down here by itself. All right. These are going to really stand out, so wherever you put them, you're going to notice them. So make sure you're not doing too much matchy-matchy patterns or anything like that. And kind of, think about where leading the eye around your canvas to the different areas that you want it to go. So I want it to come back around this way maybe. These branches are kind of pointing in towards our birds, and they're sort of, see how I've kind of cupped those berries so that they're not leading away, but they're kind of creating a little thing. These ones are sort of pointing in up towards the birds too. And this one is, these are kind of coming this way off at an angle. So the eye is kind of going to catch. We could have another one here if we wanted to, or maybe up here we'll do one so that the eye gets caught going up this way and notices that red one and comes back around there. This is just, we're just messing with composition here. These are wherever you want to put yours, but I'm just giving you ideas of placement here. I will have a traceable available for this on my website. That will be the finished painting, so you can draw my bird with the right size beak now. You're welcome. You can have, you know, it's traceables make it real nice, because, you know, if you're not comfortable with drawing, you can get a head start. It gives you, as you build your drawing skills, you can still paint. Why not use all the tools available to you, you know? I know people, I think that it's becoming more accepted that it's a art form. You're just as much of an artist if you're using traceables or other tools that help you, just like artists use mirrors and camera obscura and all kinds of other tools in their day and age, whatever. Man, I can't imagine what Van Gogh, Picasso would have, or not Picasso necessarily, but some of these other artists would have done with some of the technology that we have nowadays at their disposal. You know, it's all just a jumping off point for your own creativity. So don't be limited by other people's opinions of it. You know, you do what is fun and enjoyable for you in your artistic journey. And if it helps you get a head start on it and you want them, they're available. Traceables, I mean. But I am going to be doing a little bit more drawing this year with my patrons. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'll be doing. I think we haven't decided 100%, but I think what we may do is do one Tuesday a month with patrons and draw out some of the things like these birds and different things. Do some techniques, some deeper dives in some techniques and different things that we're doing in our videos that we don't necessarily have time for on a normal Tuesday, because we're trying to get done with a tutorial, you know, trying to get a full lesson. We have so many full lessons out there, but I don't have a lot of just technique, you know, videos, and so I want to do more of those so that you guys have a full kind of what am I trying to say? So that you can see your progress a little bit easier, and you know, okay, I need to learn how to blend, or I need to learn how to do dry brushing, or I need to learn whatever, how to do fur or whatever, and we'll do like a deeper dive into different techniques so that you can just go to those videos and find the one that you're interested in if you're working on a project on your own, so that we'll have, you know, kind of help supporting videos that will help you with your own projects. I don't know if that's explaining it very well, but that's the idea. So I haven't fully developed the curriculum yet, but let me know in comments if that sounds interesting to you, if you're one of my current patrons, and or not, either way. But just a way to offer a little bit different. We're going to be getting rid of our bonus videos this year that we'd been doing for the $5 level. So, and this is kind of in anticipation of that, maybe something that we can do that'll be a little bit different, but still give me my weekends off. All right, adding white to the red, and now I'm just figuring out which of these berries is on top, which one's underneath, and adding highlights to those that are overlapping the other ones. How you doing, hon?
I am doing great.
It got real quiet over there.
You're in that portion of the show where you get into the zone and get going.
Good.
So, I usually quiet down during this portion, but yeah, it
Nice.
seems like, people would like to have, more lessons and help on things like blending.
Yeah.
And I know that in your challenge image, you're going over more of the creative process and also
Right.
including digital art.
Right.
Now, you're self-taught through other YouTube videos for the Procreate.
Mm-hmm.
And while you have some skill there,
I'm not an expert.
You don't feel like you're an expert or at a teaching level. So
Right.
maybe someday, could be a side business,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Right. I'm mostly doing it I'm not doing it as an art form in of itself, which is what the other artists are doing. They're doing it for, as digital art, as its own art medium.
right, to be the end.
Right. I'm doing it to use for reference photos for my paintings. So there's a little bit different. So they're not necessarily finished artworks in the digital form. I'm just getting them close enough to what I want to paint so that I have an idea of what to do. And, manipulating photos and things. So I'm just trying to help people so that I think this year my goal as a teacher is just to kind of help people get a little bit closer to being independent. Not that I want you guys to go away and leave me alone, but just that, there's a lot of people that want certain things painted, or they have, they have trouble not following a tutorial. They have trouble, or that fear of kind of branching out on their own. So I want to give them a little bit more confidence of, feeling like they know how to go from A to Z and have a finished painting at the end. So giving them some of those tools, some of the things that I don't show during my tutorials because I've done them ahead of time. So that's what I'm doing with my challenge videos, because we've got several weeks to work on a project. That's the $10 level on Patreon. We're working on the animals of the world in different continents. So we've done 4 continents so far. We've got Europe and Australia and Antarctica. I'm not sure I'm going to do that one. I probably will just to finish the series, but we're working on Animals of Australia this month, and they usually take a good 6 to 8 weeks to finish. So if you are just, wanting to join in, you're at the perfect time, because it's literally just started. But
Just get up and going.
Yeah, we've finished 4 other paintings in this series. So we did Animals of North America, Animals of South America. No, we did Animals of North America and Africa last year. The year before we did Asia first and South America. They take a long time. So, I mean, we've been been at it, but this year we should finish it.
And you space them out through the year. It's not
Right.
the only
Exactly.
one
Yeah.
you do. You do other
Right.
ones
That's
in
why they're
between.
taking so long.
Right.
Yeah. Because, but they've been really, really, really fun. And I have learned a lot doing them. That's the thing I like about the challenge videos that I do with my patrons at the $10 level, is that I pick things that I have not done before, so like things like the Night Cafe series and the Christmas Village at night and different things like that we did last year, were things that I've never painted before, I try to challenge myself as much as anybody in what we pick and what we paint together, and you get to see the whole process a lot more than what I do here, because I just don't have time, here to go into that much detail.
And in the Patreon stuff, of course, you get access to the full library, not just what's being done right now.
Right.
So they can go
Right.
back and they can access all
Oh,
of
yeah.
those previous
Yes. Right.
ones. And
Yeah, that's for the same price. It's
Yep.
just all one. it's just like Netflix or something. It's just one price for the one price for entry, and you can watch whatever
Get
you
it all.
want. But all right, I'm tapping in my white, just a little like frosting my berries here. I think I'm finding just tapping them is working best, and then tapping off with my finger if they got too dark or whatever. But they're gonna have like the snow and ice on them as well, and then I need to give them a little bit of that, the dark little. Some of them have their little butt ends poking out, and I need to make sure I have little stems to all of them, and then we'll be done, I think, pretty much. Unless I missed something on my birds, but I think we're pretty much done.
Okay, so is it a good time for a super chat?
Sure, yeah.
All right. We'll get the real bell. I like the real bell better anyways.
It's a lot more randomness with the real bell.
Yeah.
So,
Super chats.
super chat.
And also you can hear it, so.
Excellent. Yeah, exactly, yeah. I don't get to have the fun.
The recording you never heard.
Yeah.
All right, super chat. Let's see if this works.
Super chat.
It does.
Yay, you're so talented. River Rat.
River Rat.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank
River
you so
Rat,
much,
are
River
you
Rat.
from Arizona? That's what we were called in Parker, where I grew up, where I had 2 years of high school. Shouldn't say grew up.
Part of your growing up experience.
But that's what we were called, River Rats, the people who live there.
And then the other one was from Pat, and she says, "Thanks for great painting to start the new
Oh,
year."
Thank you, Pat. Wow.
Thank you very much,
Very
Pat.
generous.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
You guys are incredible.
Thank you so much. Wow. Very sweet. I'm liking it. I think I kind of missed a little bit of the green, but I think we got a little feel of it, with the background the way we did it. But if you wanted even more, I think I wouldn't hate it if I kind of went through and added some green
I just popped up a question there real quick.
green boughs, green pine leaves, needles.
Do you know if the long-handled Velvet Touch series just came out with longer handles?
Yes, yeah. Velvet Touch has long handles. The short handles are the same, the same on the brush side. So the brush itself is not different. It's just the handle. So it just depends on if you prefer a long handled or short handled. It depends on kind of what I'm doing. Sometimes I do like the longer handles. In this case where I'm choked up so much like this, it doesn't matter. I really probably could have the smaller one just fine. But if I'm doing something, especially something that I need like some distance, and I'm holding the brush a little farther back and maybe just swishing it around, or making random marks and things, then having the longer handle is really helpful. Just in general though, what I use the Velvet Touch line generally for, I don't find that the longer handles for me are that helpful, because the kind of techniques that I do generally, I am doing close-up work with these ones. So
I feel like I could be a more real artist if I was using the long handles. I could be standing up and whipping it away from the tip there.
you think
Stepping back and looking
You'd
at it
feel like-
with my monocle.
would you be wearing a beret or
Well, duh.
and a big white lab coat?
One that says Paris on it.
Sorry. All right.
It's a joke.
I made some more of that background, darker gray blue color, and I'm just gonna kind of go in here and sort of where the bottom of the snow is meeting the branches. I'm seeing like some darker areas in my picture, so I just want to give it a little shadow underneath where those are setting on the branch, just to make it a little bit more realistic.
We have another
Okay.
super chat that just came
Oh,
in.
wow.
This one's from Celtic Peasant. It says, thanks so
Ooh,
much,
nice
Angela
name.
Argentine.
Celtic
go
peasant.
Celtics.
Are you from Ireland? We're talking about going up to
London,
London in June.
We're in the early planning stages.
Early.
Like, yeah, that
The
sounds
kind
fun.
of planning that is like may not happen. So, which happens to a lot of our vacation plans
But right now
lately.
it seems to be more real than it was.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, we were going to do it in 2020, and it didn't happen, obviously. And then, yeah, I was sick last year for a lot of the year. And so feeling better. And we want to get out and travel. We haven't traveled in forever. So I'm going to Disney World next week. I feel a little
Yeah.
guilty not bringing Mark with me.
To escape the
One
cold.
of my girlfriends is turning 50, and so she's having this is what she wanted to do for her birthday.
So they say they're from Scotland.
Scotland. Ooh, I like it. Yeah, we'll have to pick her brain. If she takes the
Yeah.
train from London, or if we should drive it. Well, I don't think we can drive it because it's on the
No.
opposite side of the road. I think
yeah.
that would be dangerous.
That would be a mess for me. I didn't drive in the
train.
countries that I can drive on the regular side of the road.
Yeah. All right, just making sure that all of these have little stems going off to them. And then some of them I'm just kind of tapping in a little detail at the bottom of them to give them a little berry butts.
Well, I am, for one, glad that we're back.
Yes, for sure.
It's nice to have the break.
I needed it.
We had so while we weren't here on YouTube for about a month, Angela was working on a project for the
Yes.
first week of our break, and then the second week was getting ready for the holidays and
Grandkids
all the
and-
visitors. So on the
Yeah, we had a
backside,
house full.
we had about 4 days where it was like
We did nothing.
I may or may not have gotten out of my pajamas all day.
We did puzzles and
Legos
and it was grand.
and rested.
Yes, fantastic. We had a blast. So I needed that. Just need a, reset sometimes. Use it to plan, kind of used it to plan out a little bit more of my year and sort of reset my intentions and goals for what I wanted to accomplish this year. And so the idea for some of the things that I'm going to do with my patrons came out of that time just of contemplation. It's really important. I think I'm going to do just a few. We're right at 8. I'm just going to do just a few like actual tree branches coming down. I'm going to get some green with my, well, if I can get it. I'm getting red in there. Get some yellow and my burnt sienna, ultramarine blue. If I can get some blue, it's like, you see what it's doing? It's like all soupy over here. Come on, let's get a green. Maybe it's not meant to be because I can't seem to get it to mix up for me. There we go. We got it green. Took a while. So just, let's see, just a few little branches coming down like, it doesn't have to be anything super defined, but using this bigger brush here is helping. Kimmel. Getting some white, mixing that in. Maybe a little bit more of the yellow. Whoa, got red. What the heck? That red just wants to be involved, doesn't it? Yellow, white, ultramarine blue. Okay. Hi, puppy. He's like, Mom, it's 2 hours. It's time. It's time to stop. It's time to stop. Let's do a few little bits over here. And again, this is just like, we're just creating layers in our story here. So these greens that are more blended out are farther away, and now we've got some that are a little bit more foreground. These ones are a little sharper, a little bit more detailed, and then they look like, you know, oh wait, you know, these ones are closer to us. Just creates a little bit more of a depth in our painting to have these kind of more detailed branches up, you know, in here in some of these areas. So that's the only reason I'm doing this. I don't need a lot of them to create that depth, but I just want enough that it feels like not an afterthought, but you know, like it's kind of intentional, and that we have kind of a stuff happening around our birds, creating these little pockets of interest and everything kind of pointing in towards them in the center. That way it's kind of more realistic, because the original photo had this on the branches with the berries, and I'm like, well, that's not going to happen, because they're not, you know, these pine needles don't have berries unless they're the kind of juniper berries that are blue, but they're not the red berries. So this is a way to do it. We've got our little pine branches around them, and we've got all these fun little berries and things. We could probably add some darker stuff around our berries, but I'm fairly happy with this. One last thing I want to do is splatter a little bit of snow.
Okay, well, while you do that, this just in. Another super chat
What?
from
You
Katrina.
guys are being so sweet tonight. Thank you.
It says, thank you for showing us how to
Aw.
make the birds and the berries pop off the canvas.
I swear, you guys, I felt like, I'm not gonna lie, like I've going into this tonight, I was like, I don't know if anybody's even gonna show up because we've been gone for so long. Do they even remember that we do these? So thank you. That means a lot. It means so much. Just to have you guys show up and hang out with us every week, and we really did miss you. Even though we needed a break, it wasn't you, it was us. You guys have been awesome, always. All right, there we go. We got some snow. We got some little birds here. Hope you guys try this one. I think it was a lot of fun. He was really easy. He took me like 10 minutes. He was very fast. came together really fast. And we'll be doing more in this series of birds, seasonal birds. So we'll be doing some in the spring. So watch for that. I'm sure we'll have some flowers involved, of course, with that one. So what?
Flowers? Where?
What? Me flowers? What? Did I do that? Yes, I would. I would indeed.
You
Okay.
have to say that in the
there we go.
Urkel voice, though.
Urkel. What? Did I do that? I don't even know. I've never watched that show. So I know what you're talking about, though. Okay, there we go. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll be back next week with some flowers. There you go.
Oh, jeez.
Flower teapot, another one in our series. We're going to do it on a long, pretty cool teapot that I found at a thrift store. Took a picture, did some CGI on it, and now we're going to be painting it with some flowers in it. All right, thanks guys so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.